what we are going to do is to actually create a form. So I want it to be inside of this of our div tag, because this div tag have the body a whole lot of padding on it that has to do with the entire body. So I want it to be after this of the table. So I'm going to say our form is going to be our form. So I'm going to close our form, open and close. Next thing I want to be inside of this form is actually a method. I can set the method. Let me say put it on top here. Can set the method. What method do I want to put? This comes in a situation with the method you are going to set depend on what you're interested in. When you want to send information to a particular server, a particular website, what you're actually doing, you're actually posting an information. When you want to get information from a particular website, what you are doing is actually to get information from a particular website. Remember that this is our target. What we're actually posting a content on this empty box here. So when we post a content on this of the empty box, what are we doing? Posting. So we're going to go back and set our method to what post. Make sure it's a capital letter. So let me just make use of double quotes. So it's going to be our post. So the next thing I want to set is actually what action do we want. Remember that when you make a request, when you send an action, where do you want the action should be sent to? Do you want it to be on the root URL, or maybe in a particular pattern or the URL that you are currently on? In this case, this is actually a root URL, which is the home.html, which is a root URL. So I'm going to set this to be a trailing slide in the station. Let me make this set in the station whereby, and maybe when we come here and say something like / maybe something like home, for example, home page, maybe something like delete. We actually need to leave this empty as this. So the next thing we also want to give it a class. The class I want to give it is actually that of the, let me call it our tags form. Just simple as this. And remember that we have actually passed this form to that of the our form. We actually pass our form to our HTML code, so we can deliberately make use of it. And before you can actually implement a form in Python, so in Django, you need to actually add what is actually called CSRF token. This CSRF token is just like an extra layer of security that Django tends to make you to actually make use of. And this is actually comes for free in a situation whereby you don't have these hackers can able to mess around with your website and can mess it up. This token actually stand for cross-site request forgery token. Like I said, add extra layer of security to your application, to your website. So next thing we want to do is to add it. It's going to be a percent sign. Here is going to be CSRF underscore token. Simple as that. So next we are going to do, we can actually implement our form. It's going to be a kind of a variable form. Is going to be our form dot content. Remember that this form is the name that we gave this form, guys. So as we said forms here, so we need to come here and say forms. So to come here and say what form. So let's just leave it at form. Let me move this signify the key, this signify the value. So after this, the next we can actually try to set the input and give it a type. So let's set the input. So input are going to set the type. We can set the type to something like submit. We can just set give it a name. We can give it a name like add tax. Remember, the name is your choice. So also want to give it a value. Also add tax. So as of now, everything seems to be a little bit working well. So let's actually reload our page to see whether if we see this in action. Let me reload this information. Get this kind of something is wrong with our HTML code. So we can say testing 1 2 3 and hit add tags, nothing get done. So let's try to fix our HTML code. So okay, sorry, this form, guys, this method action class supposed to be inside of here. So let me just delete this guy, and also this of the input to be an anchor tag at the end. So I think that should fix our problem. So let me go back and refresh the page. If I can see, it's looking a little bit nicer. So then, so want to do, please fill out this form. You can see the help of Django. Django tends to make things a little bit easier for us by helping us by putting some kind of visual layer of things that instead of us trying to check whether someone entered the content, Django will automatically do that, fill out this field. So I think this should do it for now. So next what we're going to do is actually to style this of our boss, because the boss is not looking pretty good. So to do that, we can come to this of our style. Remember that we're using kind of inline style, so we're going to come to this of the style. We're going to what was the class name, which is what this tax form will give it. So we can say what we can come here and say our dot class, so which was tax. What was that? This was the tax form. Let me just copy it. Was dot tax form. So tax form. So the next we are going to put inside here is that we can start to form add this. Let me give it space. We can start to add that of the display. Let me add the display to be something like flex. So we go add the gap. Let me set the gap something like 10 ps. So I can also add the justify content. So also add the word out of the center. So let's actually see that. Let's actually see whether it took effect. So you can see it took a little bit of effect. So I'm going to style him, but I'm just going to copy and paste this code. So I'm going to explain it a little bit more. So this is the content that I copied and pasted. I already have this already. So this was what we did, and then this was the other one that I did task form, set the input, submit, type is equal to submit, which is this submit, type was to submit. So what we actually start it a little bit, give it a background color, the color padding of 10 and 20, and border none, border radius 5 first cursor pointer. Also give for that of the task form, input type is that of submit, or hover, background color set it. So let's actually run it and see whether if we have anything. Check and see it's looking good, it's looking similar to what our final project is going to look like. So these are basically what I want us to look at in this video. In our next video we are going to actually take information from this and then try to update it on our website. So I'll be able to see in that next video. Thank you.